All right, all of the algorithms that we talked about for subtraction in base 10, of course, can work in other bases. And so I'm going to look at some examples in base 5. I'm going to really push you to be able to use these algorithms in a different base because I know you're comfortable in base 10, but I want you to know what it's like when you're learning these algorithms as if you were a kid learning it for the first time in base 10. And so that's why we're going to spend so much time looking at other bases. Okay, so for example, let's suppose we want to subtract 432 base 5 minus 43 base 5. Here I'm going to use the equal additions algorithm. So remember, the idea here is we want to add something to the 43 base 5 so that I can change that 3 into a 0. And I've got my addition table for base 5 off to the right here. And you can see that to add 2 to 3 in base 5 gives me 1, 0 base 5. So I'm going to add 2 to both numbers, and then I'm going to subtract. So if I add 432 plus 2, that's going to give me, that is a typo, 434, right? 2 plus 2 is 4, base 5. And if I add 2 to 43 in base 5, here 2 plus 3 is 1, 0, so I put my 0 down and I carry the 1. And then 1 plus 4 is again 1, 0, so I get 1, 0 here. And so that's where that 1, 0 comes from. And now the subtraction is a little easier to handle, right? So 4 minus 0 is 4, 3 minus 3 is 3, and 4 minus 1 is 1. So I'm left with 334 base 5. We can also use the blocks to help us illustrate subtraction in bases other than 10. So remember, in base 5 now my longs are made up of 5 units and my flats are made up of 5 longs. Okay, so if I wanted to do 3,2 base 5 minus 1,4 base 5, I can start by illustrating 3,2 base 5. So I have 3 longs and 2 ones. And now I want to remove 1, 4 base 5. Now I don't have 4 ones as it's drawn here on the left, and so the first thing we want to do is break down this long into 5 units. And so that's what's happened here. This long made up those 5 units. And now I'm going to remove 1, 4 base 5. That's 1 long and 4 units. And then I just look at what's left. I have 1 long left and 2 units here. Sorry, 3 units. Whoops. Three units left, sorry. All right, so 1, 3 base 5. We could have used the base 5 blocks over here too for 4, 3, 2 minus 4, 3 base 5. And let's go ahead and illustrate that just because I think we could use some extra practice. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is represent 4, 3, 2 with the base 5 blocks. So I'm going to need 4 hundreds, not hundreds, 1, 0, zeros in base 5, 3 longs, and then 2 units. And I need to remove 4 longs and 3 units. Okay, so I'm going to, let's use a different color. I'm going to break this long up into 5 units. And I'm going to break this into 5 longs. And let me just pull down what we still have. So now I have 3 flats. I've got these 5 longs and the other 2 red longs. And let's delineate where we are. Here are some 1s, and I have 2 more 1s. All right, now I want to remove 4, 3, base 5. So let's cross out. Let's try one more color. 3 units and 4 longs. And let's see what we're left with. I have 3 flats, 1, 2, 3 longs, and 1, 2, 3, 4 units in base 5. And that's the same thing that happened over here. All right, so again, you should add in the details. We started by representing 4, 3, 2 base 5. And then we decomposed. Let's do that in green. Whoops. Decompose. And then in blue, we removed 4, 3 base 5. All right, so that's using the blocks in base 5. And then finally, to build up to the standard algorithm, here on the bottom of your screen, we're illustrating what happens with the blocks, right? So when I borrowed here, I broke down one of my longs and broke it into 1s so that I would have 1, 2 1s, and then I can subtract. Finally, this is the standard algorithm that you are probably most comfortable with. So to subtract, I needed to borrow from the 3, so this became a 2. And this 1 really should be in front of that 2. So I have 1, 2 base 5 minus 4 base 5. And so that's 3. If you can't remember that, of course, you could look at your number line also. So I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2. So if I want to do 1, 2 minus 4, I'm going to go back 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's how I get to 3. All right, and then 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, so I want you to practice with the base 5. I know it's not natural for you, but that's true for little ones too, right? When they're first learning subtraction in base 10, it's not necessarily going to come naturally to them. And that's why we want these tools in our toolkit for them to be able to approach these problems in a variety of ways.